been so long, Dee. Okay. Which one am I looking at? This one. You've only told me like 10 times. Is this thing on? Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Hersatility, officially kicking off season 2, which I am so excited about, but I do literally have to start out with apologizing because why I took so long, I couldn't tell you. Life be lifing. That's a part of Hersatility, wearing many hats. However, I don't like to make excuses, so you guys have to hold me accountable. I am going to try to be way more consistent so you guys are getting more episodes back to back and not keep you guys in a drought for however many months that was. And I think I said this last time, but I really am going to start doing solo episodes, or at least making the effort to get out of my comfort zone and give you guys some more of those. So if you're new here, Hersatility is a podcast that really just highlights the versatility of women and all the multidimensional, multifaceted, powerful women and the many hats that we wear. I like to say it's like a non-niched podcast because I feel like in today's era of like niche down, pick a niche, find a niche, we get so caught up in that when it's like 9 times out of 10 as women, we really are many things and not just one. So this podcast is all about that, just making sure you feel comfortable as a woman, not having to conform into one single role, one single title, or one single box, because that's not you, sis. You are many things, and that's okay. So before we fully jump into season 2, I wanted to take a minute to pause and kind of reflect on season 1 because, well, first and foremost, thank you to everybody who tuned in. I am so grateful for everyone who gave me feedback, left positive comments. I don't think you guys know, or maybe you do, but like anytime I get a comment or a message that really speaks on like, oh, this episode, I needed to hear this, or this episode really resonated with me, you guys, that is literally, I take that as a God wink that like I am doing what he has for me and I am in the lane that he is making for me, and just affirmation that goes such a long way with me. Also, my love language is words of affirmation, so there's that. But I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. There was a lot that I learned in season 1 that I hope you guys took away as well. But I wanted to pause and reflect on those lessons, some of those lessons. So I think I had like 3 or 4 core ones that I want to talk about. And then I also just want to give you guys some life updates because I think it's super important that, you know, I also share some of my journey with you guys along with the guests that I have on here. And I think it really serves a purpose to like somewhat document these things, because then you guys can see like, oh, she was in this season of life when she was laid off. Then she was in this season when she like got a new job and was slowly but surely getting out of survival mode. And now I have some new updates to share with you guys, which I think will be kind of cool to reflect on with you guys. So I want to jump into those lessons that I mentioned. And I think something that was so cool about season 1 was that despite how different each one of the ladies were, like I'm talking all different walks of life, different career paths, different seasons of life, they all, like every episode, I noticed certain common denominators, I guess, and those are what I kind of reflected on and took as some lessons that I thought that was just super cool to see. And so one of the first ones was balance. I think as a woman, especially in today's world, balance is such an important thing that we're always like, how do you find work-life balance? Or how do you balance, you know, motherhood, professional life, personal life, all the things, right? There's always something, staying fit, going to the gym, cooking, everything. Balance always comes up. And I think there's always also a notion of like, can women have it all? Because once upon a time, we, I guess, you know, weren't allowed to have it all. We weren't meant to have it all, right? We were just supposed to be homemakers, mothers, wives, and focus solely on the home, which is like a beautiful thing and honestly a job within itself, multiple actually. So now in today's world where we are allowed to work, so before we meet, you know, said partners and start this family, etc., we have an identity as, you know, whoever we are in that moment. And I think a big part of that sometimes ends up being what we do for a living. So after reflecting on season 1, I think I finally have my answer to, can we as women have it all? And I think that the answer is yes, we can have it all. We can have the career, the family, the personal life, the health and wealth, all the things. We just can't have it all at once, in my opinion. I think that different seasons of life require different focuses. And I can use myself, for example, and I guess I'll give you guys one of the life updates early, but I just bought my first home. Did my maybe personal life take a toll there? Yes, I was locked in. I feel like I've been like living under a rock. So maybe my personal life, meter, so to speak, like went down a bit, but one of my biggest goals was met. And that's just in that season of life. I try not to be hard on myself, but you could sit there and think like, okay, was I not a great friend, right? Luckily, I have really amazing friendships where we all kind of understand that we go through different seasons and whatnot. But my social life focus went down, and my just like locked in, working, saving, trying to be financially responsible, that's what that season required. I think we see it often, and if you go watch season 1, which if you haven't already, you should, you kind of see the same thing. Like all the ladies on there spoke on, there were seasons where they were heavily focused on their careers, and then there were other seasons where they kind of reached those goals and thought like, okay, it kind of naturally causes a shift in you to like, dang, I actually hit all these milestones I had for myself, but I still want more, or like maybe I'm not feeling fulfilled. And it calls you, and I feel like God has a funny way of doing it, to kind of self-reflect and be like, okay, well, who do I want to be in this world? And is it all about my career? Which kind of leads to just that, like different seasons, balancing it, and knowing that, again, you can have it all. You just shouldn't fall into the pressure that I feel like society puts on us sometimes of having it all at once. And I also think social media plays a big role in that. I think you see someone and you see their highlight reel, because we all post the best of our lives. So seemingly you might think I have it all, right? And maybe I have everything you're seeing, but not all at once, if that makes sense. So that is the point of balance that I took from season 1 that I want to leave you with. And the next point was the idea of integration versus separation. I'm going to explain what I mean by that. I mean it specifically in the sense of this whole notion of how many hats we wear, being multidimensional, being multifaceted. What I found from season 1 is that women thrive the most when, instead of separating all those titles and roles that they are able to show up to every one of them as authentically themselves. So they don't have to switch these hats and put on a new mask with each one, or pretend to be someone they're not, or what's the word called in corporate, like code switching, for example. I think that's a good example of it. I think women feel most empowered and thrive the most when they feel like they can be authentic. And the truth is, which we learned in season 1, is like, you can be all these things that seem so different, but at the end of the day, they're all true to you. So it's still you. So I feel like that was something that was super cool to learn in watching the episodes back and seeing just the real time like evolution of women happening, and realizing that we can be these things. Like, just because we are in corporate doesn't mean we have to hide that we like makeup or something like that. So I thought that was super important. And another lesson I took that I wanted to leave you guys with. Lesson 3 that I noticed was a common denominator throughout all of the episodes in season 1, or most, was the idea of a soft life, that I know is like a buzzword nowadays. And what I realized is that maybe not all, but most women, even the most high producing ones that I know that are, known to be independent and so on and so forth, really do crave a soft life where they can relax and they don't have to be on go. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of women, myself included, that do enjoy working and do enjoy, getting certain accolades or whatever the case may be for your career field. But I think that at the end of the day, we don't want to have to do that. And we do want to feel safe and want to relax. And I think that there's this narrative about like strong, independent women and calling them masculine. And I truly don't think that's the case. I think that if a woman feels safe and feels like they are provided for, and I don't mean that only financially. Like, I mean, there's not just financial security, there's emotional security. I think a woman will naturally start to slowly but surely, even the most independent of women, let their guard down. And I think trust is super important. So maybe this is more of a message to men, which isn't my audience, but I just think that it's important to not put women in a box of like, oh, she's this strong, independent boss woman. She's masculine. She's not tapped into her femininity. She's not submissive. That's not really the case. I think most women naturally are those things. That's why it's called, feminine energy. And I think it just takes a certain environment or man or whatever the case may be to bring that out of them. And it goes back to a notion of like even survival mode, like taking men out of it. I think I have experienced what I felt like was, and I think I've opened up about being in survival mode when I first became a single mother. And I think it isn't really until now that I feel like I'm finally coming out on the other side of it, slowly but surely. And I think I've come a long way. And when I was in survival mode, like it's very hard to be creative. It's very hard to be what society deems as feminine because I have a child to feed. And I have, whether I have help or not, like I have myself, right? Like I have myself, I have a child. And regardless of the situation, when you're in survival mode or if you find yourself in survival mode, it's hard to be creative. It's hard to be anything but that. And I think it kind of can take a toll on, again, back to that thing of balance and seasons. It takes a toll on your personal life. It'll take a toll on your love life. Might even take a toll on how you show up at work, because it really kind of just bleeds into your overall how you show up as a person. But yeah, I think more women than you may think really do want to live this soft life that we all talk about. The fourth lesson that I took from season 1 and everyone that I got the pleasure of talking to and hearing their stories was that in almost every episode, each woman talked about how some of the hardest, whatever their hardest time of their life was, where maybe it was a transitional phase or just like they were experiencing, if you know, just like that almost rock bottom, whatever that looks like for you. Everyone looked at that time and reflected and said that that's pretty much where they became who they are today. That's pretty much the season of life that shaped them the most. And I think from experience, I can attest to that, and that's very, very much true. And that I always have this mindset of, I actually read a book, The Obstacle is the Way. I'll put it below. But basically this notion of like, your hard times, everything I've gone through, I don't like, yes, do I wish it was easier? Would I have maybe changed some things? Of course. But I think I look back and I'm like, I don't think I'd be as strong as I am today. I don't think I'd be as fearless as I am today, which I'm still working on, but like a lot less doubtful, a lot less fearful, a lot more faithful. And had it not been for some of the hardest times in my life, I truly wouldn't be that. So I feel like for anyone going through just a weird time or just straight up a hard time, just a reminder that there's a shift quite literally happening in your life, and just keep going, take it day by day, and everything you're going through right now will not be in vain. Like, you will reap the fruits of the moments that you're in right now. Just keep going. Don't lose faith, and literally take it day by day and have grace with yourself. So those were the top lessons I took from season 1. I encourage you to go back and watch it, but now I want to jump into some of my life updates because, again, I am holding myself accountable to being more open and getting more comfortable with sharing my journey with you guys, because I think there's a lot of beauty in sharing those different transitions and phases. So last time we talked, where was I? I think I was telling you guys about how it was after I had got my new job that I loved, which I'm still in. Thank you, Jesus. I think a lot has happened since then. I think back to that survival mode, that's when I was like starting to slowly come back out of it. And it's interesting because I just had this realization of, I think because I have the personality type where like I'm always on go, always like, okay, what's next? I'm also a very grateful person. Like when I tell you I wake up in the morning and for the smallest things are actually the biggest things to me. Like every single day I thank God for my daughter's health. Like that's number one. I thank him for the roof over our heads. I thank him for my car to get us from point A to point B. So I am very grateful. However, sometimes I feel like when you're on go and always trying to tackle the next goal and the next milestone, you don't really realize in real time how far you've come. And I think that's something I've had to reflect on lately and think like, wow, I really am so blessed. In the last, I'll say like year or two, I rebranded and relaunched my clothing line. I launched Hersatility. I got a new job that I love. I bought a home. I took my daughter to Colombia for the first time. Not only was it her first international trip, but obviously that's where my family is from. So that was a really, really meaningful trip for me. And traveling more with her has always been a goal of mine. I've traveled more, period. This year alone, I think has been one of my most like travel busy years. And it's just one of those things where I know 2 or 3 years ago when I first became a single mom, you kind of have this idea of like, oh, my life is over. I'm not going to be able to do these things. So just reflecting on the last year or two alone makes me realize how far I have come. And I think it's really important to do that. So yeah, life is good. And it's even better when you really focus on the good. I say this all the time, like there are so many things that we can worry about, complain about, be sad about, but just as many of those things that exist in your life, there are blessings, just as many blessings, if not more. You just have to take the time, like I said, be intentional and focus on those things and thank God for them and more of them will come. But I am super excited for season 2 and the ladies that I have coming on. I cannot wait to see not only how these lessons kind of continue to evolve and show themselves throughout season 2, but also to learn more and to learn more about all of these different women's stories, how relatable they are in different ways, and how inspiring, motivating, and even sometimes healing they are, even for myself included. So I'm proud of myself for going. I think it was really almost embarrassing how long I took. Like when I tell you guys, I was so hard on myself. I was getting irritated. I was truly getting irritated. And it got to a point where I felt God nudging me. And that's what really pissed me off. I was like, not God, but like myself. Like, okay, he's being very graceful with you. He's having a lot of patience with you. It's on you now. You need to, call D, get season 2 rolling. And like, what are you waiting for? Yes, life is busy, but also, I'm going to be honest, I think when it comes to Hersatility, it's a little, I don't know if fear is the word, but like, I think any kind of art or exposing yourself or being vulnerable in any way, shape, or form and sharing something that you care about with the world is scary. And I think subconsciously that honestly prolonged the filming of season 2. So I say that to say, don't have perfection paralysis. Don't overthink, especially if it's something God has already placed in your heart and affirmed, like he did with me a couple times with Hersatility. Don't sit on it too long. Act on it, because he'll put something in your heart. But if he puts something in your heart, something I've learned is that he wants that idea to come to life. That's something from him. And if you don't act on it, he still wants that idea to come to life. So it's kind of like, I know you guys can probably relate and have had a thought, something you've wanted to start, and then you sat on it, you slept on it, and you saw someone else do it. And you're like, dang, I had that idea, or that's something I wanted to do. It's because it was meant to come into fruition. So that's one thing. And then also just having grace for yourself and not letting the hurdles stop you. Like, I was embarrassed of how long I took, to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, should I even come out with a season 2? Like, this is like, it's been, I don't know how many months now, but I'm now being here, episode 1 of season 2, really grateful that I didn't let that stop me, that I didn't let any of the doubts or fears that come with this stop me. So yeah, I am really excited about season 2. Those are pretty much all of my major life. Oh, I forgot one update. I am now co-leading a single moms small group at church, which is like its own story on its own, as was buying my home. So honestly, I will probably do an individual episode for each one of these updates. Let me know if you have any questions. It's really cool testimonies and journey all of them have within their own. So I'm really excited to share those with you guys, but those will be for another time. And I think that is it. Dee, did I forget anything?
I guess you can end it off how you normally would. What does Hersatility mean to you now?
Okay, yeah. So that's how I end all of my episodes with guests, is asking them what Hersatility means to them. And it's actually something I answered that I don't remember what I said at the time, but it was in my very first episode of season 1. And I think it's an ever-evolving thing. So I like that you asked me what it means to me now. And I think what Hersatility means for me at this moment in time is very much tied to grace and having grace for myself. Because I think in all of my multiple roles, titles, responsibilities, I think it can weigh very heavy on me. It goes back to the notion of balance, right? When you're balancing too much at once, I think you don't fully feel like you are giving your all to just one thing. Therefore, you always feel like you're kind of lacking in something. So I think that Hersatility to me right now is just making sure and constantly reminding myself that you have a lot going on, you have a lot on your plate, and you're doing your best. So have grace with yourself. It's okay if you make a small mistake at work. It's okay if you didn't get that quality time that one night in with Paloma. It's okay. It's okay. Like right now, my comfort is like, you just bought a home, girl. Like patting myself on the back just because it's been such a goal of mine for so long. So yeah, I think right now that would be what Hersatility is directly tied to for me, is grace. And that comes inevitably with all these hats I gotta wear every day. So yeah, season 2, what you can expect is a little bit of the same stuff, but obviously with different ladies that you had in season 1. So I'm super excited. And what else? Oh, a lot more solo episodes. Hopefully, I need to get it together. I already know, but I really do just want to be more consistent and show up more. I think, like I've already said, Hersatility is something that I know, like, God has affirmed is meant for me to do. So I want to honor that, stay consistent. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning in, watching, subscribing, and I hope I will see you over in season 2 and we continue to grow. And if you like the episode, whether it's today's, season 1's, the ones to come, please subscribe. It's super motivating. It helps us grow. Like whatever you can. And like I said, I'm always open to feedback. So leave me your thoughts as well. I'll see you guys in season 2.